Hey, look, it's a 36-year-old white guy talking about his favorite rap albums. Who cares what I have to say? I don't know. I just felt like doing this. We're going to talk about my 5 favorite rap albums of all time. You know, there's probably other ones I could have put in here, but right now, these are the ones I'm feeling today. They're all pretty much from the same time period, so whatever, deal with it. These aren't in any sort of order or whatever. They're just 5 great ones. You can put them wherever you want. Let's get into my list. First off, DMX, It's Dark and Hell is Hot. What an album. From start to finish, this album just punches you in the gut and like doesn't let up. Like, I'm a big fan of storytelling rap, as you'll see pretty much throughout all of my picks here, and I feel like DMX was one of the best storytellers. Just an incredible debut album. Like, he literally went from who is DMX to one of the biggest artists in the world with this album, and it's a timeless album. You know, all the stuff that's talked about in the album, all of the beats, they still hold up really well. It doesn't feel like, you know, commercial filler from a certain time frame. It's heart pumping stuff. You know, there's a couple chiller tracks on there, like How's It Going Down? That was the big one that got radio airplay. But just from the intro, I mean, what an intro as well. Like, the intro song, dog, that's my mans in them, you know, like, it's just so good. Amazing album. I love it. I never get tired of it. There were other really good DMX albums, but I feel like the first one was just so raw and just so him, you know, not giving a fuck about what a record label says. He's like, I'm going to make an album, and that's the album he made. Next up, Bone Thugs, East 1999. Once again, a debut album. They had an EP before this full album came out. Of course, everyone knows the history of Bone Thugs and Harmony. Eazy-E discovered them. He was working with them. But once again, this is another album that I feel like is just so good because it was something completely different. And we'll talk about another group towards the end of this video that kind of did things in a similar way. But I feel like Bone Thugs and Harmony was just a bit different than them. And I never really understood why they had beef with each other. But East 1999, once again, amazing album. You had the radio song with Crossroads, but you had so many just like darker songs, you know, stuff that you really didn't hear all that much in rap. And Midwest rap wasn't really a big thing at the time, you know, coming out of Cleveland, we thuggin' and thieving, like Bissy Bone would say. And it was just so good, you know. I even love the skits in this album, and I think that's what helps set this album apart from other albums on this list. Is even the skits and like the little interludes are like so good. Ouija, are you with me? Mo murder, mo murder me now. Like, just amazing stuff. I love all the different harmonies, for lack of a better term, and I feel like they all brought something unique to the table, but they all made it sound good blending together. I mean, once again, an album I can listen to front to back to front, never get bored with it. You know, just so many good tracks on there. Bone Thugs and Harmony, East 1999, amazing album. The next one is a little bit of a more unknown artist. You kind of got to be a hip-hop head to know about him, and that is Big L, and I'm going with The Big Picture. Now, Big L had 2 albums, Lifestyles of the Poor and Dangerous, and then he got shot, he was killed, and then this album came out right after his death, and it featured songs that essentially he was working on but never released. And so this was kind of, you know, a weird compilation album, but once again, like, Big L should have been like the new king of New York. Like, just bar none. Because you have the freestyle on there. It's an 8-minute freestyle with him and Jay-Z. And he just makes Jay-Z look insignificant. He makes him look insignificant. Mad Hose, ask Beavis, I get nothing but head. What? Like, Jay-Z tries on the freestyle, but Big L just, he's on another level here. So many amazing stories to tell. You know, even the main track off the album was Ebonics, basically just talking slang and what it means. Like, just an amazing album. Great production as well. Yes, some of the songs don't sound all that great because they're like unmixed stuff. There's one with Tupac on there that, you know, it doesn't sound all that great. But overall, it was a glimpse into an artist who would have been the next big thing, I feel. I really feel like if Big L didn't pass away, he could have easily surpassed Jay-Z as the king of New York. Just a fantastic album, a great storyteller. Like, you get really involved in the stories that he tells on this album. You feel like you're right there. You know, I gotta stop smoking. These cigarettes are gonna be the cause of my death. Like, as he's running away from the cops. Great album. If you've never listened to Big L and you enjoy, you know, New York hip hop from the 90s, please listen to that album. Sticking with the New York flair, I'm going with Cameron and Purple Haze. Look, The reason that I'm putting this album on the list is because back then, people slept on Cam'ron's lyrical ability. They thought he just said, you know, weird little things that made no sense. But when you go back and look at what he was saying in his raps, like, there's some deep shit. Like, you gotta open up your mind to, like, the metaphors that he's creating here, that upon surface level, you're just like, oh, you know, that's kind of gibberish. And then you listen to the album more and you're like, oh, wow, wait a second. There's something much more in here. I mean, just amazing tracks. Kill the cam, kill the cam, cam, kill the cam, kill the cam, cam, Hanamaya. Like, excellent production value. You have Kanye West on the album too, with Down and Out, which is a great song. A very young Kanye, or Ye as he's known nowadays, before everyone started thinking he was a great rapper. I'm gonna keep it real. I think Kanye is a fantastic producer. Don't really like him as a rapper. I know, sacrilege, whatever, but Kanye's, you know, the College Dropout album, like, this is okay. And then I don't know, I never really got into Kanye as an artist, but as a producer, I think he's great. And he definitely shines on that song. Just some classic, you know, New York vibes from this time. Cam'ron was on his way to stardom. This was the album that really catapulted him, you know, wearing the purple for the Purple City Bird Gang, you know, rocking the pink. Like, the dude made pink cool. And not anyone could have pulled that off, I feel. Cam'ron, Purple Haze, amazing album. And the final one that we're going to talk about, honestly, probably is my number one. Like I said, all these other ones are just sort of mixed together as whatever. 3 6 Mafia, When the Smoke Clears. 6661, When the Smoke Clears. This was a life-changing album for me. Like, when I heard this, it blew my fucking mind. Once again, from beginning to end, there's like 20 songs on the album total. I mean, there's some skits in there and whatnot, but just, and you know, you turn it on, about to blow the boy's ass off. Like, whoa, let's calm down here. You have a great blending of like evil stuff with club stuff, and like a little more radio friendly with sipping on some scissor. And it's all over the place, but it blends together so beautifully. No matter what your mood is, you could, like, if you're angry, you're sad, you know, you want to party, you want to vibe out or something, there's something on this album for you. And that's, I think, what makes it so amazing. Like, look at the production on here. This is what made DJ Paul a star, and Juicy J a star, and 3 6 Mafia stars, because without this album, they never go on to win a fucking Grammy or anything like that. I mean, the Who Run It Challenge, like, everyone started doing the Who Run It Challenge a couple years ago, and I'm like, do they not know the source? Like, I've been singing Who Run It forever, hanging out my car window like in the music video. These bitches ain't run shit with y'all mouth, because the first hater stepped the first hater getting tossed out. Like, so good. And there's so many different styles on here too. You have DJ Paul, who's kind of like a little bit more evil drug dealer. You have Juicy J, who's more of the party guy. You have Lord Infamous, who's like the guy who probably like chops up bodies in his basement. You got Coop on the track, on some of the tracks, who's like the more singer kind of guy. You got Crunchy Black, who's just like the maniac. Like, he can't rap for shit, but like, you believe everything he says and you wouldn't fuck with him. Gangsta Boo, Project Pat is on there. Amazing album. And so many great guest appearances on there. Just fantastic, man. That's the album. I will never get tired of it. Great cover art too. That cover art is phenomenal. I love this album to death, as you can tell. And yeah, it's probably my favorite album of all time when it comes to rap music. All right, so that's the video. Like, you know, these are all pretty much from the 90s. I still listen to newer rap nowadays. There are some artists that I like, but I would say these are the albums that really had the impact on me and really made me, you know, sort of just love hip hop. Obviously, there's a bunch more. You know, Biggie wasn't on the list. Nas wasn't on the list. I could have put a lot of different artists on this list, but right now these are the albums that I'm feeling. These are the albums that I really feel like stand the test of time. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Bye.